ladies and gents, it's me, it's Clayton, and I just got back from seeing Ghostbusters last night. And here's the thing, just like it's difficult to remain unbiased for the film when it comes to how it compares to the original, it's difficult to go to the film unbiased when it comes to the controversy it sparked online. With that being said, is this movie as bad as the haters say it is? Of course not. But is it as good as the original? Also no. It's somewhere in the middle. I think it's a decent movie that just had really bad advertising and some really lame, cringeworthy jokes. So let's get to the story. The story revolves around the four titular Ghostbusters: Aaron Gilbert, played by Kristen Wiig; Abby Yates, played by Melissa McCarthy; Gillian Holtzman, played by Kate McKinnon; and Patty Tolan, played by Leslie Jones. Gilbert was trying to become a legitimate professor at Princeton University, but a book that she made with Abby Yates causes her to not to receive her tenure, and causes her to get fired from her job. Luckily, Abby Yates does manage to provide a different way for Aaron Gilbert to get money. You know, as she's actually spent years studying the paranormal with Gilbert, and now that there's sightings all over New York City, she's setting up an actual service for people to catch ghosts, along with her friend Gillian Holtzman. Patty Tolan joins the team after having a spooky encounter with a ghost at her job as an MTA worker. Probably the friendliest MTA worker that you'd imagine. And while all that's going on, the guy planting all these ghosts is a nerdy guy named Rowan, who plans to destroy the world because he was bullied throughout his entire life. So yeah, the story is really nothing new, but it does work when it comes to this movie. But even though I do think the story works, there are some problems with it. The main problem is that the film doesn't know if it's trying to be a send-up of the original, or if it's trying to be its own thing. Because even though the story tries to be different from the original, it still uses a lot of the same elements, and it uses a lot of the same ideas, like possessor ghosts and all the ghosts gathering into one location for a big battle scene, and the Ghostbusters choosing a destructor form for their final opponent. It's really similar. Not only that, but there are a bajillion cameos in this movie. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, Annie Potts, you name it, they're there. And the cameos are sometimes funny, but it does make me realize that this film, just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, has nostalgia overload all over it. And based on the film's hit-or-miss style of humor, it either works or doesn't. Despite the fact that a lot of people said that the movie wouldn't work because of the four women who are the stars, it's actually comedy director Paul Feig who doesn't really work as a director of Ghostbusters. Because with Ivan Reitman's original Ghostbusters, it was a mix of comedy and horror. It was able to portray both aspects very well. Paul Feig's movie style doesn't really have that same spark that really makes it feel like Ghostbusters. Therefore, some of his jokes go on a bit too long. Others aren't very funny the first time when they roll on over and over and over and over again. And his type of humor just isn't as funny in PG-13 as it is in a rated R movie. However, the positives in the movie are indeed plentiful, as the best parts about the movie really are with the four lead actresses. Aaron Gilbert and Abby Yates have a really well done friendship, and you really do care about them, and you really get that they have the sense of camaraderie. that you'd expect from two good friends. Patty Tolan, played by Leslie Jones, is rather humorous throughout, and she nails her jokes every single time. But probably my favorite Ghostbuster was Kate McKinnon as Jillian Holtzman. Holtzman just steals the show in every single scene she's in. And she's not only very humorous, but she's also probably the most like a mad scientist out of the Ghostbusters. She's essentially the Egon of the group. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Egon was my favorite Ghostbuster, so Holtzman's my favorite reboot Ghostbuster. I agree that the special effects are pretty cheesy and cartoony, but I do think that some of the ghosts have interesting designs, like that they're based off of the real Ghostbusters animated series. So they're creative in that respect. It's just some of them do look pretty darn fake, and since you hardly believe they're there half the time, they're not the least bit frightening. But overall, the film also has some great special effects when it comes to the proton packs and the various other gadgets that the Ghostbusters use. I think those other gadgets are pretty darn cool. Like the glove that allows you to punch ghosts. There's proton grenades. There's some other stuff that I don't want to spoil for you, but those are just the gadgets you've seen in the trailers. It's pretty darn spectacular when it gets near the end. But one thing that I have to mention is that this film doesn't exactly like men. Every single male character in this movie is an idiot, a jerk, or an idiotic jerk. And even Chris Hemsworth's character Kevin, his one joke is essentially that he's an idiot, and that he never does anything right. Yeah, I mean, the film even points out all the negative reactions that the film got via the trailer, and the way they beat Rowan in the end really does show that Paul Feig does not really care for the other gender. But if you get past that, and you get past all the things that I said previously, and you focus on the stuff that works, some of the comedy, the four lead actresses, and the relationship that they have with each other, you'll have a really fun time. So, like most reboots, it's not as good as the original, but it does stand out on its own. It's not my favorite film of the year, probably a 7 or 7.5 on my scale, but I still liked it. So hopefully you can come up with your own opinions to see if you want to see it or not. See you later.